Hi, I'm Life Coach Landry, and the topic is 5 signs someone is not a long-term person for you. Okay, number 1 is you're not sexually compatible. This may sound like a superficial point. After all, you may be thinking, what is sex compared to emotional compatibility? Well, it's a lot because biology is a big deal in this world, okay? It's true some emotional connections are so amazing that they're worth putting hard work into even when you're not completely sexually compatible. However, science studies all show sexual compatible couples do much better than non-sexual compatible couples, okay? Number 2, you're only compatible when it comes to sex, okay? The same token, there's nothing wrong with, regular passionate sex. But it shows that people who are routine sex do better than passionate sex in science. That's because your relationship understands it needs sex on an ongoing basis in order to be compatible. However, the reason you can be routine about it because most things work in your relationship other than sex. The people who are passionate about sex typically are the couples who aren't their relationship around the passionate sex is not intact. Therefore, it requires more passion to keep it together. Sometimes when you take a step back, you realize the passionate sex is what's been holding you together. Okay. Number 3, you don't have the same goals for the immediate future. A lot of people go, oh, what's your long-term goals? I would say, what's your immediate goals? Is your immediate goal in the next year or two to have a child, have a home, and move forward with your life, get your PhD, whatever it might be? These people need to be compatible with that. You don't necessarily need to be on the same page of 10 years of your life down the road because you're still growing as a couple. But a good relationship, has long-term and short-term goals built into both sides of it. Okay, anybody can sit down and say, we're going to plan out our future. But to actually do it, good couples survive it. Bad couples break up eventually because they outgrow each other. They go in different directions or they feel disrespected about their goals. Okay. Number 4, they're still hung up on their ex. Okay. This is typical for some people. They don't actually cut them off. They say they're not with their ex anymore, but they still are somehow connected to them and they don't let it go, but they tell you they do. Okay, we've all been given the timeless advice. The best way to get over an old love is with a new one. Sometimes we end up being someone else. Sometimes you're constantly sticking your hand over your face going, I'm over them, and you're telling them that, but you're not. Okay, but if your partner is still very actively hung up on their ex, as in constantly checking their social media, bringing them up whenever they're hurt or something attaches to something from their past. A partner whose heart belongs to their ex can still be fun in the short term, but not in the long term, because ultimately what they usually find out and usually happens is you end up not working out. They end up going back to their ex, trying it out, and it ends up failing, and they end up trying to come back and repair what they had with you, but they've damaged it already. Okay, if somebody is doing that, if somebody's still caught up on their ex, you just need to move on. Because in psychology, they show solid love takes 2 totally committed people. Okay, not a person with half a foot in, half a foot out. Okay, so don't count on trying to set something up serious now. If your partner's living with you, but somehow mentally somewhere else, let them go. Okay. Number 5, you're only there because you don't want to be alone. This is bad habit of especially women, younger women. A lot of the times, hey, there isn't a sole correct reason to couple up. Humans by nature do better with another human than they do alone. Okay, science shows we live longer when we're with somebody. Science shows we do better when I say this, we do better when we're with somebody compatible. When you're with someone incompatible, it actually shorten your life. Okay, but so let a fling be a fling. In other words, and save the heavy stuff for when you're in a better place. It'll happen sooner or later. Than you think. And if you're in a current relationship right now that's short term and has these signs, it's probably better for you to start moving on if a long-term relationship is important. But if you're in a relationship right now and a lot of these signs apply to you, let me recap. You're not sexually compatible. You're only compatible when it comes to sex. You don't have the same goals for the immediate future. You've been cheated on, so to speak. They're still hung up on their ex. You're only with them because you don't want to be alone. And I would add one more in there if your communication's suffering. If it seems like outside of sex, your communication's broken and one person's trying to fix it and the other person's not, that's usually a sign that they're just not as committed as you are, and you're probably better with someone who will commit themselves to communication and things like that. Okay? I hope these 5 signs that someone isn't compatible with you and isn't long-term let you understand that you could be in a short-term relationship right now and you just don't know it. So listen to this video a couple of times and see if these things apply to you. As usual, you can contact me on the link below, and I will talk to you soon.